So what do we have here, babe? What happened?
Staying warm. Their outdoor wood boiler.
Woo! Just when you think you can't get any sexier, I tell you. Awesome stuff. Oh boy, oh boy. So we had that tree there, let that branch go, nice maple. Came right across the roof here. We just did this roof too. And well, I got a little hole here. Darn it. But that's not the problem. This one's gonna be a problem. And it's gonna rain in a few days. So I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do here. Rather than just yank this out, it sucker's really wedged in there. I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take my fancy Sawzall here and I'm gonna cut this as kind of flush as I can. I'm gonna do another little trick. So let me get this cut rather than yank this out. This way it kind of still seals the hole. Okay, well, I took my handy dandy Sawzall here, cut the branch off. And as you can see, I tried to cut it about as low as I could get it to a point. I want this to be a high point here. This way, when I end up putting stuff over this, it kind of makes a little mound. So what I'm going to do, I have some really good duct tape. Now I know this is not the actual way to fix this, but the reality is this is an Airbnb, and in not even 2 hours somebody's checking in here, and it may rain, it may not, I don't know. I don't have time to deal with this. I don't have time to fix this correctly right now. So yes, I will peel this back and replace the plywood and shingles and tar paper. But for now, this little hole here, what I did, peel up the shingle, slide the duct tape up underneath it, and then put the shingle back over. This way, when it rains, the water hits this, and then over. It should be fine. Now we're gonna get to this, we're gonna do the same thing. I already peeled this shingle up so I can get underneath it, and I'm gonna start taping it, and it'll be a pretty good sized little square over this, just so it doesn't leak. Okay, so now that one's done, but because we have a back pitch going this way, we're gonna reseal across the top of this just to get that extra layer going back over it. And overall, I mean, it's hot on this roof. It should work pretty well. It's not gonna seal for long, it's not gonna seal everything, but it will minimize and maybe completely seal this for now until I can get back up here. So, you know, not the right way to do it, but it works, and it will work temporarily to get you through it. So if you learned something, make sure you subscribe. Okay, and now that protects from coming back up underneath this. So the water comes down here and has no choice but to go around this giant pimple, if you will. And it's kind of worked by leaving that stick in there, and I think that's the best bet. And try to, instead of taking that out, because then it would have created a depression, and once there's a depression, it's easier for water to go in. So better off with the little bump for now. Okay, well, I'm here to fix this, and let's see what we're looking at. Oh, that's not so bad. I figured it couldn't be too long of a piece because it didn't come through the ceiling in the house, but I don't know where the other end of that is. It doesn't look like I can see anything down in there. So that's not too bad of a hole. Let's peel some of these shingles back. It's another day. I have plywood. It's about 4 days later. It rained a tiny little bit. My patch worked just fine. And you can see the humidity underneath it. So it held it. It worked good. All right, now I can patch this for real. So we're going to peel out some shingles and replace a piece of plywood and put some ice and water shield down and put some new shingles down. Simple. Okay, you can see we're peeling back a couple of shingles here. Now the trick is to start with the upper one, slide up under here, and pop these nails out. And that'll be able to get you in there. Now you probably have another nail a little further up. So that's why you really want to work the top shingle, and then once you pull that off, it's easy to get to the nails below it. Like I said, you can get to it right there instead of trying to go under this. That's that. Okay, so if I can push this tape measure all the way against the rafter on the other side, I can see I'm close to 14.5. That tells me I'm 16 inch on center stuff. So I'm going to cut a piece of plywood 16 inches by approximately 7 inches or so, because we luck out here, and this is the factory edge. So we may have broke just a tiny bit of that, but it's still good. So we're going to leave that edge and just replace this piece. So let's cut the piece of plywood first, instead of trying to cut the hole and then make the plywood to it. That's one of the little tricks to this. Okay, another little trick. So this is going to be the piece of plywood I'm laying it out on here. You're doing this. See how good I can do this while holding my phone as well. If you mark where you need to be, 7 inches, hold this top on that edge. hold it and go. There you go, all the way across. There's your line. 7 there, 7 there. Perfect. Okay, so here's our piece laying in there. And what we're going to do now, I marked it. So now all I have to do is cut this out with the skill saw. And you can see there's another layer of shingles under here, and they're awfully brittle and nasty, so I'm not even going to get into that mess. We'll deal with that another day. But for now, let's cut this out, and by getting rid of the shingles here and not cutting through them in this staple, that'll save my blade a little bit. There we have it, right? Simple. And the trick is don't cut too far down into these rafters, because if you look at them, there's not much to that rafter. An inch and a half thick. Crazy what you really need for a roof. And nothing says quality like these trailers, as we like to call them. So there you go, drop that in, and I will nail that down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another old broken shingle across here. This way it fills it back in, so it's not such a dip like it'll really matter if you look down the roof. It's kind of like, woo. But getting it done. Let's nail this in and cover it up. All right, now, I used a piece of ice and water shield. You can use tar paper. I just didn't have any more tar paper. I wasn't about to buy a roll for this. So the trick is just to lay it underneath everything, so water comes over this, and then we'll go over shingles. So I actually want to have that over that if I can. And then another one will go under it, and then the next one over it in case this ever leaks. So I don't trust any of this bottom stuff. Okay, so there you go. What am I looking at here? Yeah, it's done. Okay, so as you can see, patched just perfectly. And that architectural blends right in with the 3 tabs. You'll never even know it's there. See? Pretty close guess. That's actually what we used on the whole backside, and a pretty good close color. Now, this is good for another 5 years or so until we get around to actually doing this roof, and it really needs it. Till then, nobody can see this, so it's perfect. If you had to see this, I would definitely make one that matched. Other cool thing is I was able to reuse these shingles by peeling them up very slowly and carefully with flat bar, and they weren't too brittle, so you salvaged that. Good enough. If you learned something, like and subscribe. Check out the rest of our channel. Have a great day.